Nick, what's going on, dude?
Going on, Porter?
Nothing much, dude. I it's trippy that you're Nick too, because I we had a group chat with both Nicks and it was tripping me out. It's weird referring to you when I'm talking to my brother.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That's sweet. So Nick, I interviewed you in March, dude. I didn't even realize it till like just a bit ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I've like talked with Nick a little while ago, but it's been since March. I remember going back on our interview.
Yeah.
What's like what have you accomplished in those months? Like, just give us a little rundown of what's going on.
Yeah, no, like we've been doing really well. Just like learning a lot about business and like how to like run a business, operations, managing and all that stuff. And so since March, uh that was a long time ago. So that was like the beginning of summer. And so what we've been doing is just implementing new processes, trying new things out.
Mhm.
And just kind of like refining the process and just again like just sticking to the basics and just mastering the basics.
Mm, that's perfect. So well, your first deal. So obviously, it sounds like you have a team now, right? Like you have like people doing this with you. Is this correct?
Yeah, I just got a couple of VAs.
Okay, so from that point, you've got your VAs. You how many deal like you literally got one deal in March, right? That was your first deal.
Yeah, well yeah, first deal in March, yeah.
Yes. So how many deals are you at now?
Oh, damn man. There's quite a bit. So right now the month, let's just say like the monthly revenue, we're at about $10,000 per month,
Love it,
and and so we got lots of deals.
dude. I love it. That's awesome. So I want to focus a lot just because like you're not. This is not your first deal, so I don't want to like hype up the first deal like what it felt like 8 months ago. But I really want to focus on like the sales. Like I feel like a lot of these people they've seen the video, especially for this group. They've seen the videos. They're kind of piecing things together. But I really want to provide value because I've talked to a lot of people recently, and they're having problems like finding the right business owner and creating that urgency to like want them to
Yeah.
want their leads, right? So I just want to open it up to you. Like, what do you do on your sales call to create urgency with your business owner? Like, say he's getting enough leads and he's kind of you can tell he's not very interested, or like he is, but he's not. Like, what do you say to him to kind of create that urgency so you allow him to kind of want what you have?
Yeah, so on the prospecting call, you just kind of I just stick to like I still like stick to the script,
Yeah.
but kind of like in my own way. And
Uh-huh.
what I do is that I just kind of ask them like some qualifying questions and just like really feel it out. Like I always do a pullback,
Mm-hmm.
always do the pullback. Um and just like you just kind of know like once you like put in like the enough reps, like you just kind of know like just like in their tone, like and so I think like with doing more reps, you get used to it. And what I find is that if they're sounding like really eager, if they're sounding really nice, and then just once you like do the pullback and just kind of step away for a quick sec, then it kind of like checks them out. And then like I said, like once you like do more of the reps, like you kind of get the feel of it and really qualify it too.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I think the more reps you do, you're exactly right, the better you kind of feel it. And I think when you first talk to a business owner, I was so nervous. I didn't want to be too pushy. I didn't want to offend anybody. So, my number one thing for everyone watching is you have to know who you're talking to. I think you really do have to stereotype, not in a bad way, but like if you're talking to an older gentleman or woman, you probably like sometimes if they're joking with you, you can kind of joke a little bit and be a little bit, maybe a little bit more bold. But if someone's like coming at you and they're like, "What do you want?" Like being very
Yeah.
aggressive, it's like don't try to make jokes. Like get in there and just like hit the points that you want to do because these guys are busy. These business owners are not just
Yeah.
like this isn't a part-time gig. So know who you have to be socially aware of who you're talking to. Second thing is when you're talking to your business owner, you got to send him more. You got to send him enough leads, right? Like you can't just send him one repair job if you're doing concrete and expect him to want more, right? Like Nick, have you ever had like your first couple deals? Have you ever sent a business owner maybe a crappy lead? How did that go over the first time you did that?
Yeah, so obviously like uh there's like a way to like send these leads. And so if I were to get like a shitty lead, well then obviously like I like to give them like a big one or like a medium to big one just to
Mhm.
show like the value.
Yeah.
But like no more than five, like Nick says.
Hmm.
And um and so once you send like a few leads, especially like a big one, then it's like, okay, well, now I like showed my value.
Yeah.
and and making sure that the business owner talks to the lead and books in the appointment as well, and just really demonstrating that what you are offering is literally you're literally offering an opportunity to make money for them, and I think like once you like really understand what you provide, well then what you're selling becomes a lot more easier. And so yeah, like just like really taking care of those leads and
Yeah.
making sure that the business owners takes those leads serious.
Mhm. I agree. I've sent way too many bad leads to business owner when I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten a lead. I got to just send it to him because it's been a couple days. And it's honestly, it would be better if I would have just canned that lead and just be like, yeah, I'm not going to send that because it's literally like a 2 foot square,
Yeah.
whatever repair job. Like it's literally going to be $800 or whatever, which it's not bad, but it's like, bro, if you're going to be asking 1,500 to 2 grand, you better be sending them some good leads so that they're like, wow, these are some quality leads. These aren't these dinky ones from Angie's that I've been getting, right?
Yeah.
So that's really important. So what else do you do to like what are some one-liners that you use, Nick? Like when you're on there and you could just like how about this? What if I'm on the phone, you're prospecting me and you're trying to pitch me and you're like, hey, like I want to send you some leads, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I mean that sounds cool, whatever. But I'm just kind of like saying yes, like I'm not really like objecting. And like if your business owner's giving you the yes, yes the whole time, it's like he's probably not listening and he's probably not there. Like, what are some one-liners or that you use like every single time to kind of create uh that
Yeah.
urgency?
Yeah. So what I do, I just say like, what, Porter, like if you're too busy, like, or if you don't got enough guys to take on these jobs, it's no big deal, like just
Hmm.
let me know now. You're not gonna really hurt my feelings, So I'm just really looking for someone to like really grow and like really take this serious and take their business to the next level. So, it's no big deal if you don't want to, So something like that,
Yeah,
where it's
it doesn't
not.
matter. Like, just shoot me straight.
Yeah, exactly. So
I
that's
agree.
what I usually do. Like that's pretty much my go-to, and it works 99% of the time.
Yeah. No, I totally think you're right on that one. So when just from experience, you start to realize that a lot of like all business owners are kind of the same. Like the objections are always usually the same thing. I'm gonna list a few. Oh, I didn't close any of your leads. Like you sent me three of them. They were good jobs. They haven't gotten back to me. I don't want to move forward till I close at least one. Okay, that's one I've heard so many times and it
Yeah.
drives me crazy. So I'm going to tell you how to get over that. So at the beginning of your call, if you're worried about objections, this is what I would recommend doing. Sit down, get a piece of paper, write down every single objection. Holy cow, I'm going crazy on the messages. Write down every objection that you can think of and then answer it yourself. So if it's like, hey, I didn't close one of your leads, well, like what would you respond to that? So kind of prepare for what they could say, so that you're not just like, yeah, okay. Like you kind of have to do what they say, right? So how I would answer that is, if someone says, I didn't close any of your leads before the call, before that came up, Nick always says you want to preemptively like overcome the objective before. So say, hey, I'm going to send you 3 leads. I know you're not going to close them. That's fine. The goal is not to have you close all 3. The goal is for you to be able to know that I'm providing these leads for you and how I get them. That's the point. I don't care if you close them. If you do, that's awesome, but I don't really care. So immediately before that even comes up, you've already just shot that one down. So he can't use that against you at the end of the call when you're like, I want to get on a Zoom, right? So whatever objection you guys are going to get, you need to bring it up before. And I don't care if it's something small, it's something big, whatever you got to do, but like the more of those that you can just kind of like get out of the way, like you could even talk about the contract right at the beginning and say, of course there's going to be a contract, whatever. Like I wouldn't give them too much information, but I definitely would try to bring those up before it comes up, because it's better that you bring it up than he does, because I don't know, it's just a lot easier. So he is not using that as ammo so that he can freaking waste more time and act like he's got to talk to his business partner. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else? What are some other things that you do? What about on the closing call? Like what if I come to you and I'm like, or you drop the price and I'm like, that's kind of a lot right now. Like, let me talk to my wife. Like, what do you usually say to something like that?
Yeah, so usually that doesn't really come up just because like what Nick teaches, but
Yeah.
like in terms of like preemptively like closing these deals, um like that they're gonna come up, right? So um what I do is that I just do what Nick teaches. So just send them the screencast, and like if they're gonna say like, oh, I gotta talk about it, well then actually if they don't bring up their wife, I always say like before the call, like I say, well, is there any other decision makers gonna be there? And then they're like, nope. And I'm like, I always say this. I'm like, okay, well, what about your wife? And then they're just like, no, like, it kind of catches them off guard, so then, and so that one's pretty funny. I don't really get that one anymore.
Yeah.
And then for like any other decision makers, well then you got your business. And then sometimes when they say like, oh yeah, like I got my business partner, but you know what, like I can just do it, I always say, well, you know what, Mr. Business Owner, like I just always like to, have all the decision makers on the call just for like good business practices. I like to know who I'm getting into business with, and I'm sure like your business partner would appreciate that too. And then they say, oh yeah, right on. And so yeah, I mean, like the more reps that you do, the more that you get comfortable with it. And I think like you just got to take some imperfect action, and then the rest follows.
And worst comes to worst, if you get nervous and you're like, dude, I forgot what we talked about, like how to do this, be honest with them. Just be like, bro, it's a contract. Like you do contracts your whole life. You got your phone, your house payment, whatever you got. Like you're not afraid of contracts. There's something deeper that's actually the problem. And so you kind of have to be like a little upfront with them, but be honest with them, because I think they appreciate that. It's like, don't just be like, oh, okay, like I guess you don't like, I guess we won't do a contract. It's like, no, like you gotta stick to your guns, because if they walk all over you, then it's like now they already know that they can get whatever they want, and they'll be like, well, I can't pay this. Like I'll only pay you $500 instead of $2,000. It's like, no, that this is
Yeah.
what. One more thing that I want to bring up is Nick talked about this a little while ago, but it's so true. He says you need to tell your business owners what to do. Like tell them what you're going to do. Don't sit there and ask them what they're going to do. Go into these calls and be like, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to send you 3 leads. I'm going to send you a screencast, and then we're going to get on a close. Like you tell them what you're going to do, because a lot of these guys, I promise you, they're going to be like, they don't have the time. They're going to think this is like this whatever, like they can just sign up with Angie's anytime they want. It's like, no, this is actually like business with us. We're going to be partners, and if I'm going to be investing in you, I need you to like take this seriously. And so the first time I actually listened to what Nick said, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to be so upfront with them that it's going to be crazy. Like I've never in my life was like, I'm going to scare them off. Like if I start talking too much and I start telling them too much, I'm going to scare them off. But as soon as I told them like what the whole picture was, it was almost like a relief to them because then they didn't have to think like, oh, like how does this work, right? Like they don't have a question because they know that they're going to talk with me on a Zoom call in 3 days. So if you guys have a problem with that, like, and you're kind of scaring people off, most likely it's because you're not telling them enough. So they're kind of like getting suspicious that why is this guy sending me leads? I don't even know. He hasn't told me the price. I don't know where he lives. Like he's talked to me over the phone. Like everything just seems odd. I would encourage you to just start telling them what you're going to do up front. That way it's not a crazy surprise when it actually comes up.
Yeah.
So, Nick, as far as your team goes, like, are you doing the selling? Are you having a VA doing the selling? Like, how does it how's it working for you right now?
Oh, I'm doing the selling. What I really focus on is like moving the needle forward each day. And um I feel like I think I'll hang on to the sales process just because like I just love it so much. And some of the other tech side I kind of like let the VA do. And so that's what I do. I'm really like perfecting like the sales process and just like getting really better at the closing aspect and just like mastering the basics. Like I just like sometimes like the basics get so boring, and sometimes I skipped a step and lost a deal, and it's like shit, like if I just like master the basics and just so that's what I really am focusing on, is like not getting uh like too over ahead myself. There's still so much to learn, right? Like I'm not like a big dog, like, and so I think like just like having that um the will to learn and will to grow is what I'm really focusing on, just enjoying it too, like just enjoying the process and really taking it in. And like if you're thinking about starting a business or like a side hustle or something, right, like everyone, like we're so focused on like I want to get to 10K 20K, all this, but then it's like sometimes you just gotta like enjoy the moment and slow it down sometimes, and really like just be like not too hard on yourself, and just enjoy the moment and take imperfect action, and just take it in, man. So it's been really good. And like I got to get to chill at home all the time and chill with the fam and go on trips. And so yeah, man.
That's awesome. Well, and I even think when talking about sales and urgency, like you having like even having that mentality of like not putting so much pressure on, like, because pressure is good. You can't just be like super chill at the same time, because if you're like, oh, I'll get a deal whenever, it's like you won't. But you still gotta like motivate yourself, but like at the same time, like realize you're growing, and that if the first business owner you call doesn't accept, that's okay. Right? Like that doesn't mean you're not gonna sell it. Doesn't mean that maybe he is the right guy. But it's like you have the confidence and like enough confidence to realize that like it's okay to like call a few business owners. Doesn't mean you're a bad salesman. Doesn't mean that you picked a wrong city. It just means that it's going to take a little bit more time. And when you do call the right guy and you're kind of have that mentality, you create that urgency so fast, and it's like, wow, why wasn't I doing this the whole time? So don't get frustrated. I love that. But let's answer a few of these questions real fast. I want to see what we have, and then we'll talk a little bit more. So, Tori said, "How do you build good expectations so you're not over promising if the lead isn't great?" You want to answer that one, Nick?
Yeah, so if the like so I just say like sometimes uh we'll get like really good leads. Sometimes we won't. Well, I don't even say that. Like I just say like I'll just send you like 1 to 5 leads. And then if it's like a more of like a shittier lead, then I still send it, but then I just say like I'll send you a couple more. I just like in terms of like expectations, I just say I'll send you a couple leads, 1 to 2 free leads, then we can kind of talk after. And then, like I said, like once I send them like a high quality lead or a couple, then you can kind of go for the pitch and close.
Yeah. And like I said, like if you have a bad lead and you know it, like I mean, don't send them crap. Like if it's really small and that's only like just bag it. Like I promise you, it sucks because you paid for it. But just it's almost better just to wait until you have a good one. But like I said, say that up front, like at the beginning, say, hey, I'm going to send you some leads. Like I don't care if you close them or not. That way, they don't have the expectations of feeling like they have to close one in order for it to like work or make them feel like if they're
Yeah.
gonna they need to close one, just say it up front. So that way, if you do send maybe an okay one, they're like, oh, this is okay. You just kind of trying to show me what's going on and how the process works.
Yeah.
So that's good. And someone said, is getting bigger jobs just mainly targeting the right keywords in your niche? I'm guessing.
Wait, what was the question?
He says, is getting bigger jobs just mainly targeting the right keywords in your niche?
Uh yeah, like yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like you just target the right keywords and like commercial job, for example. People will type in on Google like commercial concrete and then you get sometimes you get some really big jobs.
Yeah. And that's kind of hit or miss. It's kind of hard because you never can just like get rid of the small ones because like people grandpa that don't know how to use the iPad are going to be on there trying to find numbers and they're going to call you and they don't even they looking for like staining and they just like are the first number they see they just call. So like you can't like completely just get rid of small jobs, but
Yeah.
I mean if you do research and you're doing stuff properly, you can do a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, and like also like you're still sending like value, like you're still building that relationship and showing authority too. So there's no like it's not bad to send small jobs either, like but like some guys prefer that, some guys prefer both, but like as long as you're providing value and building that relationship so
So true. Okay, so someone said, oh, Jacob, I kind of answered this, but how do you deal with business owners not closing leads? Just bring it up before, like, just say it doesn't matter. Like, and if that's a big problem, like, hopefully, maybe they're not a really good closers. Maybe they're really just not confident in their closing, and maybe that's something you should be aware of. If that keeps coming up, they're like, I'm not closing jobs, or I'm only a 25% closer. It's like, well, geez, even if you are, I like if I was wanting this business, I would lie. I would say, oh, I'm like a 75% closer just so I could like make it seem like I was. So just kind of fill it out, but bring it up before if that comes up a lot. Um, let's see who else we got here. Okay, it says also I have a lead. I had a lead come through. We have been it's been slowly dripping in, nothing consistent yet. So I switched on ads, but is it still wise to pitch business owners with inconsistency? So he's basically acting like he's only got a few leads, they're not coming in hot. Should he still try to pitch?
yeah, 100%, just because like sometimes like the leads they won't come in, but then sometimes they'll be like boom boom boom, so that's just like the way that's just part of the game. And I would definitely still pitch, like you're still like giving leads. And yeah, definitely, just follow the process and just like let the business know. Sometimes like we'll get lots of leads. Sometimes it'll be a little bit slow, but on average. And so that's what I always like let the business owner know as well. And just like having clear expectations with them, so as long as you're like having good expectations and setting them straight, um, they really appreciate that. And like the business owners, like, um, in their perspective, like they're not so some of them aren't even getting leads that much, so they just really appreciate a guy working hard for them and getting them leads and yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I would also say with these, like what you could say to your business owner, say you're getting some leads, you send him one, and then you're like, I haven't gotten one for a couple days. Like, you don't need to lie to them, but just be like, hey, like let's say the leads are a little bit slower. Say like, I am wanting to work with, like, make sure it's a good fit or whatever. Like, I don't want to rush the process, whatever. But like, if I am working with two, because sometimes I'll call a couple business owners and they'll be like, yeah, I'm down for it. But then I sent one lead to this guy, and then maybe I might send another one to another guy. And so you're kind of working with two at the same time. I've definitely done that where I'm like, this guy's could be right, but this guy seems a little bit better. So I've kind of done both. And what you could say is, hey, like, I'm also sending leads to another business as well. Like, I want to make sure that this is a good fit for me, and say me, because then you're really trying to like turn the tables and say like, I really want to make sure like it's me, right? Like a lot of times they think they're the ones that are in control, but you need to be. So if you say that, then they're like, oh, okay, so like the leads are coming in, they're just not necessarily sending them to me, even though they are kind of coming in a little bit slow. So you don't need to lie. Like, it's not like you need to lie to them, but I think the more open you can be, and then if you are calling other business owners, like, you could say that. Um, any other things you'd like to add, Nick? I think we covered a lot just about the sales, and I think it was really important because I've had a lot of questions concerning sales. I think people are kind of getting to that point, and it's hard to really vet business owners because people love taking free leads, but it's hard to vet some of those that aren't necessarily interested. So, do you have any other little words of advice or things you'd like to say?
Yeah, like um I would say just like you can look at like their online presence and like their website as well. Like if I've noticed that like if they have like a solid like website, well then it kind of just shows that they believe in like marketing and like branding and just on that first call, like just ask them quite like certain questions uh sometimes I ask them like what's your goal for the year, how many employees you got, how many crews you got, and just kind of like vet them out. Sometimes sometimes they're gonna feel like a really good fit, and then sometimes it's just not gonna work out. That's just part of business, and I'm sure everybody's probably lost deals, and I'll be real with you. Like sometimes I lose deals too. Like it's part of the game, and I think like if you just like take the action, like you're gonna get the right guy, and you're gonna get deals, and just like doing a pullback, like just saying like, well, like it's no big deal if you don't if it's no big deal if you don't need these leads, Mr. Business Owner. So you're not gonna hurt my feelings. And just like sometimes like they don't like they want to say no, but they're too nice. And
Yeah.
so they'll just say yeah, yeah, yeah. And so just like if you just kind of like switch the mindset on like you're providing them leads and value, and so they need you more than you need them. So I think it's just like a mindset type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And get picky, like you got free leads, man. Like you're giving these leads out. So it's like, who should I choose? And I think it just comes back to like the mindset. And again, like if you put in the reps, you'll learn, you'll definitely make mistakes. Like just know that, and you'll get discouraged, and just as long as you put in the reps and learn, and you're gonna have success. Like whatever you put in, you'll get out. So that's what I would say.
I love it. I couldn't have said it better myself, but honestly, guys, you're this close from landing your first deal. I know you're probably like, dude, I'm so nervous. Dude, the first deal, it's gonna be like you just willed it to happen because it was probably so bad, and you get it, and you're like, how did I get this guy? But I promise you, you do not need to be perfect to do sales. I think the more real you are, and you just dig down and use your personality to your advantage, is when you're gonna start landing deals. So we're going to end on that note. But Nick, thank you so much for being on here. And if you guys have questions, hit up Nick. Let him know like what you've been doing. Like if he said something that you like, Ask him what he's doing, because I think we have a lot of great resources in this group, and sometimes we're a little afraid to ask. So, anyways, thanks, Nick. We'll be talking soon.
Yeah. See you guys.
Yeah.